can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Give a shout out and welcome to Ed Brisson, one of my favorite writers. Some of you probably already know. For one of the earliest, probably some of the earliest X-Men stuff I think I covered on the channel, which was the X-Men Disassembled, X-Men Extermination. Also did work on X-Force, Alpha Flight recently during Fall of X. Also one of my personal favorite stories, There's Something Wrong with Patrick Todd. And also really loved your work on Beyond the Breach, and you've done Batman Incorporated, Old Man Logan, Dead Man. You've done it all. You've done it all.
Hey, keep it going. I like it.
But yeah, just how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little bit tired today. It's the end of my workday, and I'm close to spent, but I've reserved some energy to be here, and so I'm doing good.
Hey, I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing that. So I guess to tell the good people what we're here. And someone actually just reminded one of the people in chat, my co-host on Saturdays, also because I can't believe I forgot this. But Ghost Rider, which I was very sad when that book did not get to finish. So yes,
you and me both.
I will, and ever so often, Carter and I both will remind Marvel of that. But yeah, so we got you here today, and you actually have something really cool on the horizon. A couple of things, actually. You're going to be tackling the new ThunderCats character, Apex, which I believe, if I remember correctly, is be dropping next month. We're going to be getting a ThunderCats Apex issue from you. Correct. And I don't remember the exact date but I think it's in January. We're going to be getting Silverhawks from you as well. So many questions. So like, what is your history with or what's your like your origin point with both of those franchises?
So growing up, I was, like a lot of kids in the 80s, I was a latchkey kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'd come home from school, and because I was the oldest in my house, I got to dominate the TV, which I did. And so, ThunderCats and Silverhawks were on back to back. From my recollection, which is, maybe a little bit foggy at this point, but and so I would just sit down and watch both those shows. And it's weird because when I was looking back on it, and it apparently Silverhawks only had one season.
Yeah.
Which it feels like it went on much longer, but also like seasons today are 8 episodes, whereas back then, they had 65 episodes, I guess.
Yeah, it was 65.
And, so, that's pretty substantial for something that only has one season. But yeah, I was a big fan. I watched them back in the day when they were on TV. I had only one of the ThunderCats toys. For some reason, my brother, sister, and I each had a ThunderCats toy.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a few of the Silverhawks figures. I was a fan of them growing up. I had watched them when they aired. I watched them years later in reruns, and then whenever they would be released, I'd always kind of go back and revisit VHS or DVD or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Now the digital streaming copies that I own.
or I guess was it or what they tell us now that we license yes. Own with air quote.
Yeah, not own. Yeah.
But no, the similar myself, I was same latchkey kid, stayed home, watched cartoons. So it was one of those things, it was really interesting to me that when Dynamite decided they were gonna go all in on ThunderCats, and they got Declan and Drew on the mainline book, and Sully over on the Chitara spinoff, and just telling these really awesome stories, really kind of mining the IP for like new stories that like somehow inexplicably never got told in all those episodes. Because I think the idea mainly was to sell toys more than to, you know, fully tell like a full like narrative the way like TV is now. But like how excited were you to like when you got the call to do something with ThunderCats Apex to bring a new character in to the franchise?
I got the call. I didn't know I was getting the call. Nate had reached out and said he had a couple of things that he thought I might be interested in. And so when he called and he said it was the ThunderCats Apex, when he first reached out, I was hoping he was calling to offer me Silverhawks because I've known Declan for a long time and I'd been harassing him from the moment that ThunderCats got announced to keep me in the loop in case they were ever going to do a Silverhawks book. And so at first when Nate reached out, I thought I was that, and he offered me Apex, which I thought was when he pitched me the idea, I was really into it. It's pretty exciting, and like because it's a new ThunderCats character. It's not someone we've seen before. He had a really sort of interesting backstory. Declan, Nate, and Drew had done a lot of work to build this character, create this character, but they also left me some avenues to come in and sort of, get my fingerprints in the clay a little bit and help direct it. And so yeah, it's cool. Like the setting for the character, like we're doing this sort of like post-apocalyptic, Unforgiven style setting for the character, which when we get to learn more about the character really suits them. I love this kind of like the man with no name sort of mystery to him. He rides into town, he's after one particular thing, and through him searching for this thing, we get to reveal a bit more about who he is and where he comes from and why he's sort of determined to get these specific things that he's after. That we saw a bit of that already in ThunderCats 8, where he breaks into the compound looking for something and fails to get it. And so yeah, it's a cool story. It's like I said, it's got like real pretty heavy Western vibes, which is for me, I'm a big film nerd as well, and to be able to like sort of draw on the like Sergio Leone and Sergio Corbucci sort of influences and throw that into the book was a lot of fun. And it's a pretty cool one shot. We get to really set this guy up for set up who he is and the impact that he's going to have across the Thunderverse over the course of the next year at least. So he's going to be a sort of a main antagonist for the team.
Oh, okay. So that was my next question. Did I
spoil that? I don't know if I spoiled some stuff.
Well, I talked about it recently on the channel. Whether or not like what is his angle? Because Apex seems to be somebody who has inside baseball on the ThunderCats as we know them. He seems to know what's what, and we see in the other was in ThunderCats 8, we see him going up against Tigra, and it seems like he at the same time he offers like there's like a warning that's in there, but like it's almost as if like maybe he was trying to help, maybe he was trying not. So I wonder like is this guy a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Is he a little bit of both? So yeah, but I think I think that would be interesting to have an enemy like that, because we don't really get very many. Most of the ThunderCats villains are usually the mutants. I think what was it? Groon was like the only one I think we ever really had that was like a legit.
He was their kind of their Judas, I guess.
Yeah,
Groon. But I think like Apex is a little bit more complex than just maybe being a straight antagonist. And when you see his motivations and when it's kind of revealed by the end of Apex, I think people will get a better understanding of kind of where he's coming from. And I'm desperately try not to spoil anything here, but I think it'll make a lot of sense as to where this character is going to fit in ThunderCats lore moving forward. But he's definitely got antagonist vibes, but like complicated antagonist vibes.
I mean, I like a complicated villain. I like a complicated villain. I think they make the world go round sometimes. Well, and the other thing is, we've already kind of like, so just between the some of the most recent issues of ThunderCats, and then we've also got Suli's ThunderCats Chitara kind of giving us a little bit of a throwback to a pre-destruction Thundera. Are we gonna get any like or maybe see like another side of Thundera from Apex's perspective that we haven't seen before?
So a little bit, a little bit. Like there's definitely some Thundera, magic in the mix there with him. And I'm just, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely, I don't think in the same way with Chitara, but it's definitely in that sort of same vein. There, I think that there are things about Thundera still to be revealed going forward, and through Apex we're going to get a bit of that.
Okay. Now, the other thing I was curious about is, we got ThunderCats, Apex on the way. Apex is going to be looming large over the ThunderCats for the next year. We've also got the Silverhawks on the way, which is the thing I never thought I would ever actually see revived ever in the history of ever. But because I always feel like no one ever really like, I feel like I up until maybe like a few years ago, I feel like the Silverhawks were a fever dream to me, that I was like, that probably wasn't real. I made it up in my head. Silverhawks weren't a thing. But
it might be the Tiger Sharks that were the fever dream.
Actually. Well, no, I think that's actually what it is. I think like I think about Silverhawks, I think about the Tiger Sharks. I'm like, maybe I don't know. Like we were actually before he jumped on, one of the jokes, the running gags, we were kind of going down television yesteryear, and it was basically all boiled down to cocaine. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. But it's like Manimal, cocaine, Turbotine, cocaine.
Turbotine.
Yeah.
Such a horrifying transformation for Turbotine. All I think about every time I see that intro, when his mouth stretches out into the bunker, and it's just nightmare fuel.
It's like all of them was pretty likely cocaine was the origin point. But no, I've actually, like, when I saw that Silverhawks was announced, and seeing what it is that that's in store for it, I got really excited because, well, for one, you were on it, so I was like, okay, it's Silverhawks, Ed's on it. That's 2 pluses. So I'm curious to know, like, without giving away anything, because like I said, we're like 2 months out, I think, give or take, from the book's release.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about your take on the Silverhawks?
So the kind of like shorthand version we've been running with is more or less, it's like Untouchables in space.
Okay.
The Silverhawks, that was their whole deal, right? They were a special task force put together to deal with Monstar after he broke out of prison and was wreaking all sorts of havoc with his crime cartel. And we're not gonna, like, that's kind of our setup too, really, is like getting into it, is that Monstar's out there, he's causing all sorts of havoc, he's really messing up the galaxy. But the thing that we are doing in the book that the cartoon doesn't do, in the cartoon they kind of have an episode where it's like Stargazer and he's like, Monstar's out of prison, I gotta you know, son of a bitch, I put him away 200 years ago. I got to take him back down. And Earth's, you know, I think they're, you know, the original rationale for why the Silverhawks is because for some reason they had to come from Earth, and that was the only way they could send them 1,000 light years away. We're messing with that a little bit in that, like, the Silverhawks are more local to like Bedlama, which is like the Earth-like planet that's next to Hawkhaven.
Okay.
And our plan with it is that you're not going to actually see the full, you know, this is kind of a warning or a promise or whatever. You're not going to see the full Silverhawks team until about issue 3. So we're going to take time kind of building the team. We are sort of leaning into the idea that was teased and talked about a little bit in the cartoon, that there was kind of an older Silverhawks program that, like, you know, Stargazer was part of, Condor was part of. And I wanted to lean a bit more into that and into the idea that they had put Monstar away 100 some odd years ago. He broke out. They can't deal with the threat anymore because they're all senior citizens at this point.
Yeah.
Which in that world, like, to be a senior citizen, you're almost like 300 years old. But I wanted to slowly build up the team. I wanted to give every character a moment before they come onto Silverhawks, so we can kind of see who they are, right? Because in the show, you get like just that one like intro from the Doctor, who's like, this is Steel Will and this is Steel Heart, you know, they're brother and sister, weightlifters, etc. And that's the extent of the backstory you get from them. And from then on, it becomes like an adventure of the episode. And so what I wanted to do was give more backstory, ground these characters a little bit more, make them feel a bit more real in this kind of crazy space environment that we're playing around in.
Partly
and so
metal,
that's why we're starting
real.
a little bit early. Partly real.
I hope that's a line that comes up a lot.
I wrote a line that's kind of a play on that I thought was really funny, and we'll see if it actually stays in the book. But yeah, it's, I don't know, the partly metal, partly real. I love it, but also like they're also all real. But anyway, so the whole plan is basically we're going to give each character their moment. So each issue could kind of almost be an onboarding of different characters. Like the first issue, we meet Quick at the same time that we have the prison break, and the same time that we've got Stargazer dealing with all this sort of stuff. And then the second issue is when we're going to meet Bluegrass and Hotwing, who I'm bringing into the series much earlier than he was in the cartoon, because he was a later edition.
That was actually one of my first questions I wanted to ask you, because we are hot. This is a Hotwing Stan account. We justice for Hotwing.
I'm look at the same.
Oh wait, wait. I got you.
I'm going the wrong way.
I got you. There you go. Yeah. Perfect. See, also, justice for Hotwing. See, you heard it here first. Justice for Hotwing. But yeah, I always thought that was funny.
I'm a big Hotwing fan myself too.
There you go. Well, Hotwing is one of those characters. Man, Hotwing's a tough one, because like I always loved the character of Hotwing, but as I got older, I was just like, why'd I have to name the one black character Hotwing? Like, I was just like, man, this is that's always been like my cross to bear with Hotwing, but I've always loved him.
I get it. I mean, unfortunately, I am not able to change names.
That was something someone else asked earlier. They were like, "Is he going to be able to change his name?" I was like, "I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be the case."
It's hopefully we make up for it by making him like the coolest badass dude on the team. He's the one where we actually did a little bit of redesign, or George rather did a bit of redesign on his uniform, so I think it looks like the 80s one is fun, but I think he looks much cooler in the book. We try to keep, like, with any modifications, we try to keep them like kind of minor, like, so it still keeps the feel of the old ones, but like updating slightly for a more, for now, for for what we would expect, because like some of
Mhm.
the stuff a little bit dated.
Yes.
And I know that we all still love it, but
Mhm.
like, I don't want to do a book, and I don't think George wants to do a book that just feels like fan fiction, that we're
Yeah.
just kind of 100% doing it. So that's why we're trying to do a little bit of a difference, but we are, like I said, using that first sort of couple episodes as our sort of rough basis and starting point, even though we do diverge here and there. Um, and the fact that we're doing like these sort of longer backstories for the characters, and by saying longer, we get like each character has like an issue introduction, or Bluegrass and Hot Wing are actually introduced together. They actually work together.
Okay. And that's something that I'm actually really happy to hear that that there are going to be like some, like, whether they're big or small, some changes to mix it up, because that was something I actually really appreciated about the ThunderCats series. For the most part, it looks familiar, it feels familiar, but there are some deviations that, and things that I think make more sense to, with today's, sensibilities. Um, I'm actually very happy to hear you say that about this one, that, because that was actually something I was quite literally in preparation for this. I actually went back and was watching some old episodes of Silverhawks, and it was actually at that moment I realized Hot Wing doesn't show up till like, I think, like damn near halfway through the series.
Yeah.
And the other characters, Flashback and Moonstriker, Condor, you mentioned earlier, they all don't show up until like even after him. So just hear you mention those names, if you want to do more with those characters and expound upon the the backstory of like Condor and Stargazer, like dive into those elements that didn't really get dug into in the animated series. That makes me very happy, because these were all things I had concerns about. What about Copper Kid? Like how, what is, can you say anything about how you're going to handle Copper Kid?
So he's still there.
Mhm.
I haven't written the issue he's in yet.
Okay.
So because but it's something I've been like kind of wrestling with a lot, in terms of how we kind of handle him talking, right? Because in the cartoon, he just whistled, and I never knew what the hell he was saying, right?
It was beeps and tones. There was whistles. Sometimes he did say something, but
Yeah,
like
which
it
is weird.
was.
He would, and if you have the subtitle, like I always have subtitles or closed captioning on when I'm watching things,
Mhm.
and that catches everything he says. It's there, it's translated
Mhm.
for the most part. And I know that in the 80s series, which is like the last first and only time there was a Silverhawks comic,
Mhm.
they just have him talking. He's just like, it's just like a different
Like
color
just normal.
word balloon. And so I've been trying to figure that out, and it's a tough one, because it really works well. Like the whistling works in the cartoon for what I
Yeah.
think they're trying to get across, but it's much harder in a comic, and I don't want to have like just a dude walking around with just like a music note coming out of his mouth or whatever. So we're playing around with that. I think like he's, the way that I'm writing him is more like he's maybe a couple years, like he looks the same, but like I'm writing as though he's maybe a couple years older, not sort of wide-eyed like
Mhm.
all the time, like this is amazing, like he's like a tween teen. He's gonna be moody and shitty at times. Like
Mhm.
not all the
Yeah.
time, that's not going to be his personality, but like I'm trying to write him a bit more like as though he has that, like he feels like a real kid, rather than just this like everything's amazing. um so yeah, and I don't know, I think he's a cool character, he's a lot of fun. um but yeah, that's the one thing I've been, and I have to decide in the next week how the dialogue's going to work, but it's an ongoing discussion.
Well, I know. Yeah, that is something that honestly, I don't know how. Like, I don't envy you. I don't envy your task. Because I don't honestly think that's a tough nut to crack, because initially when it was brought to my attention the series was happening, the first thing I thought of, there was a recent there was the Minor Threats spinoff Barfly, where there's the titular character does not talk. He just kind of like emotes, and like there's like some I guess like sound effects, lettering and whatnot to kind of describe what it is that he's like trying to say or feel. But I was like I don't know if even that would work, or if, does he just talk like a normal person, but maybe he speaks like very like I don't know.
Don't think so. The way that I'm leaning right now is
Mhm.
more like and it's not like we're doing this, but
Mhm.
like because personality wise they're quite different, but I think the an interesting approach would be similar to like Cassandra Cain in the
Okay, just
Batman comics, right? She doesn't
very
talk,
sparse.
but like
Yeah.
yes, and when she needs to, she does. Because the Copper Kid is a mime after all. He's not
Yeah.
supposed to talk. Most not supposed to talk. So
that was the other thing too. I was thinking about like you bring up Cassandra Cain, and like even that and even more recently the running gag around my house. I forget the name of the character, but there's a character on Jujutsu Kaisen that doesn't speak normally, speaks in sushi ingredients,
bonito flakes.
so he just says a random word ever so often. Is like, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like maybe just the Copper Kid just says like maybe a couple of maybe a couple of words, not even like a whole sentence, just like just enough that that he said something. That's the only thing I can like really think of. But yeah, I don't envy your task, and God bless you for taking it on. Now, obviously, we're just getting started with Silverhawks. The future is we got to tell and this is something I try and impress on people. We got to tell the stories of now before we get to like pie in the sky stuff. But you mentioned Condor earlier, who I guess for the uninitiated is an older model Silverhawk. That's like a precursor to what we currently would have in the timeline of Silverhawks. And mentioning the Untouchables and like and that's something I think a lot of people tend to forget about Silverhawks, is that it was kind of a cops and robbers type of type
yeah,
of
100%.
show.
Like
Yeah,
Monstar is a mobster. That's his whole deal. He's a mobster.
He's not some like space wizard. He's not some like evil sorcerer whatever hiding in Castle Grayskull. Like he was like a straight up gangster mobster villain. So I was very curious. Like if like since you're saying like we're being introduced these characters like individually. If there was any room for like maybe more I guess maybe to fill out the backstory on Monstar and his history with Stargazers, because as I remember, I don't think we really get a whole lot of info just outside of Stargazer just doesn't like him, and that he captured him before, like
he captured him every time he escapes from prison, which I don't think we ever get a clear number on how many times he's escaped from prison. But like we just do know he has escaped. So yeah, like one of the things that I really want to do, and I have a story that is more or less and this is down the line. But I do definitely want to do a story that's set in Bedlama 150 years ago, when or 100 years ago, whatever, when Stargazer and the a Condor and a group of older like sort of original proto Silverhawks take him down for the first time. So that's a story. That's a thing that is going to happen. It's planned. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but it's planned. It's there in my outline for the series. So it is an issue I'm actually very excited to get to and to actually write. So because that's the kind of stuff I love. I think that Stargazer and they have that sort of really that kind of untouchable sort of thing. Like we have this story about how bad this planet used to be because of Monstar, and how like he almost destroyed it during this fight between him and and them. So yes, it's planned. It's there, and I'm looking through my outline to see where it is. So
Well,
yeah, so I have it there. Barring any like sales disaster or whatever, you should see it.
Yeah. Well, I will just take this as an early opportunity to say that for those watching, or whether you're watching this live or watch this after the fact, go to your LCS and say, hey, can you put that new that new Silverhawks and that ThunderCats Apex? Can you put all that in my pull box for me? Do that, and I think things are going to be I think we could better guarantee that'll be the case. But
buy 10 copies, give them out to your friends.
Yeah,
get those numbers up.
Like I say this all the time. You can't get the thing if you don't go buy the thing. So if it sounds like, if you're a Silverhawks fan like myself, go do that. Go help yourself. Go do that. And I know that one of the other things, like I said, I know that's probably something that we can't really talk about, but I feel like it was hinted at in the press release when Silverhawks was announced. But I know, like, in past iterations of ThunderCats, they've implied that all of this is within the same a same or similar universe, so to speak.
Right.
And I know that, like, we'll have to kind of like play the long game here on this, but like, if we could get like a very good turnout for Silverhawks, maybe a little Declan Ed team up, maybe get it.
I would love to. I think a lot of people, like, I get asked constantly if we're going to do a ThunderCats Silverhawks crossover, and I would love to do it. I hope that we can do it. There's no definite plans to do anything like that at the moment. I think that Dynamite really wants to set each book up as its own thing and make sure that we kind of establish ourselves first before we start branching out and doing crazy stuff. But definitely I am 100% interested in doing that if sales warrant it. I have a lot of ideas on how it could happen, and how the story would sort of fold out, but I'm not going to give away any of that right now. But I have ideas, I have thoughts, and fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, I could definitely say same. Fingers crossed. I want you to be able to get to put those ideas out there, because honestly, I think it would just be a joy to see. And I know that a lot of people that whether you're a fan of ThunderCats, whether you're a fan of Silverhawks, or both, I know a lot of people would be really interested in seeing that. I feel like that's one of those crossovers that is, like, me personally, I feel like it's a license to print money, but but you never know. People are weird. Yeah, people are weird.
Well, let's hope. I know, I don't know if like Silverhawks and ThunderCats have ever crossed over. I know there's been hints. I know in the 2011 ThunderCats series that you saw Tiger Sharks at one point.
And Monstar. Yeah, Monstar pops up for like there? Yeah, like he's
right.
I
I've
actually
only made it halfway through the series so far. So
yeah, the thing that was kind of funny about it was just the fact that when I was going back and looking, and I found this image is it's actually, I guess, when they were going through the prison looking at all like the different like cells and like who all was like present or maybe not present and accounted for. I don't remember the full context of it, but basically, yeah, this was like one of the shots that they put up, And like you see like you got like you see the tiger shark up like in the top, you see like the vulturemen and stuff, and you see like Monstar, and I was like I thought it was pretty cool. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's a cute thing to throw out there, and maybe we can maybe pay that off somewhere down the road, but that never happened. Because that show only got the one, I think it only got like the one season.
Yeah, I believe so.
But yeah, I think like I'm just really excited for it because Silverhawks is something that I feel like, man, it can only really truly exist in like a 80s hair metal like lifetime, just because just just because of what it was, but just to see it coming back now is just really awesome, and honestly I don't think they could have picked anyone better to tackle this. So yeah, no, you earned it. I want to give the flowers now. But but no, and so you mentioned earlier, like because I want to make sure I might, because I'm notorious as I'll fuck up a name in a heartbeat. But you're working with George Kambadais, or it's Kambadais?
Yeah. Yes.
Either one of we're
I've
taking
been saying Kambadais.
Yeah. Okay. Who for those who whether you're familiar or not, doing phenomenal work over on the Gargoyle series, which has been lights out. So like that was also another reason why I was really excited, because I was like, I feel like George's style is very like similar in a lot of ways to that Silverhawks animation style. You said that like Hot Wing is getting an update, and like are any of the other characters going to be getting any kind of like, I know you say he's getting the most, but like any teases about the updates for the others?
I would say like Bluegrass has got a bit of an update too. Just as much as I like that bandana, I could not live with that bandana. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
We have a very cool we got a cool compromise. So there's like we keep the essence of it there in the design. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, and everyone else, he's done that kind of a polish on them, more or less. So that, but yeah, it's Hot Wing and I think Bluegrass, we're going to see kind of the biggest things. And even then, it's not massive, it's not major, it's not like a top down sort of full revamp. It's just kind of a refresh more than anything.
No one's gonna be crying that you ruined the Silverhawks.
I mean, people definitely will be.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, you're gonna still have those people.
Yeah.
But like the thing I hope is that I think that because I'm such a big fan of it myself, and I grew up with it, and I'm putting that sort of love that I have for it back into it, and so I'm hoping that people will will feel that and will pick up on that. And there's nothing, I'm not doing anything that breaks these characters. I'm not doing anything that's really outside of what was there. I'm just, more than anything, I'm making them, I think, George and I are just making them more three-dimensional. They were fun in the cartoon, but they were the focus there was on the action and the battles and stuff like that, not so much on the characterization and the turning these characters into well-rounded characters. And so that's kind of where I've been doing it. But like when you were talking about George, just go back to that earlier. I think like if people check him out on Twitter, pardon me, he's just at George Kambadais, which is George Kambadais. He's been doing a lot of like Spider-Man stuff like forever, and that's the kind of, when I looked at that at first, and I was very familiar with George's work for years now, but as when he was doing that and we were looking for a Silverhawks artist, where it really kind of like you can see how he's going to just nail it. I've already seen how he's nailing it, but you guys will get to see why his stuff is going to work so well on that.
Oh yeah, no, he's he's gonna be lights out on that. I have a good like I like just the stuff. Which, oh, by the way, actually, I think I have. Yeah, I actually got some of right here. I'm gonna pull this up just so everybody can kind of get a I guess a taste of what's going on here. But like, here, let's do like right there. There's a little taste of George right there, and if any of this is any indicator of what George is capable of, if for whatever reason you are unfamiliar, let this wake you up to what George is capable of. He's fantastic.
He's great, and he runs that line like it's such a fine line. That's hard. It's a hard balance where he's got that crazy kinetic artwork, but it's also like it feels cartoony without feeling overly like he's got the cartoony sort of edge to it, but can really nail like all the emotional and character moments so well.
Yeah, it's a like, and I'm just kind of just taking a oh my god, yeah, he literally did like every.
He loves Spider-Man, yeah.
He literally went through and did every symbiote. Like, yeah, like good lord. So yeah, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna y'all are gonna have to go back and take a look at some stuff. I could literally be here all day just looking at them, but just the fact that this guy is out here doing Scream and Sleeper and you Venom and everything, like, yeah, this guy's a madman. He's a madman. So yeah, like I said, this book's in good hands. It's in good hands. And I guess for just to to really bring it home on the Silverhawks front, one of the things that because I don't think that it's out of the spectrum of possibility. Just because, like I said, we were talking about, characters that were literally a part of like a 22-minute advertisement, for toys. Yeah. It's not this crazy of a statement, but like, I felt like a lot of times, the characters we got introduced to him, like in the very first episode, it was literally just like, hey, here's some turnarounds, and hey, here are these characters. All right, love them, but go buy their toys. So the opportunity to tell like some really good narratives of these characters, I think like this is fertile ground for it. So I know you say you're going to keep like the kind of like the Untouchables, cops and robbers aspect of it. But like, one of my favorite things too is like, sometimes we get to take a peek into the villain a little bit sometimes. Are we gonna get any, I guess, like any FaceTime with Monstar, maybe more than what we usually got in the animated series?
I think that that's the long-term plan. Right now, it's really like the first bit is really about just setting up the Silverhawks. We do have some bits with Monstar, where we get a sense of who he is and what he's all about and what he's after. And the hope is kind of there is, I do have the thing is I've outlined like about a year's worth of stories, but I've got stuff I want to do as well. And a lot of that involves Monstar. Like I do really think he could be a fun character. So right now, like, yes, I think you'll see more dimensions to him than you would have in the cartoon. But I think we're gonna, even though he's the main antagonist, we're kind of like drip feeding him for a bit for the first few issues. I don't want to overdose anyone on Monstar. I don't want to like come in right away. I want to, we're going to build to a battle that's going to earn its sort of like its epicness, I guess.
I mean, you can't give away Sky Runner right away. You can't give away the squid motorcycle just off the, just right off the jump. You can't do that.
There's some fun Skyrunner stuff coming up actually, but not in the first issue though.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to see George's designs on that. Yeah, that's gonna be insane. But no, I appreciate that. I like the fact that you're not trying to like throw everything at the wall all at once. Like, let the story breathe, tell the story, and I think that's what I've really enjoyed about the ThunderCats stuff thus far, is that it's not rushing to any finish line. It's trying to tell a story, and you've been very good about that in every other thing that I've read by you. So like I said, this book's in good hands. I don't know how to sell it any better than that. Like, this is it looks like Silverhawks, it smells like Silverhawks. This is Silverhawks. It's gonna be Silverhawks, but yeah. And I guess for those that do just for people to know, whether you're on the Twitch side of things, there's a little code command you can put in, either exclamation mark ThunderCats or exclamation mark Silverhawks, and it'll pull up the links for the respective books. Y'all can go straight to the Dynamite website, pre-order them there, or go to your LCS and check them out over there. Also on the YouTube side, they are in the description below, but you can also use the same command. It's just a little slower on YouTube. But the links and everything are in the description below. So go click on those. Or, as I said earlier, go to your LCS, because, comic shops exist. Go do that. Talk to your hookup. Get it in your box, because trust me, it helps. It actually helps a lot.
It definitely does.
I'm a recent learner of how the industry dictates sales, so it's kind of become my mantra now.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
Go pre-order the book. It's how you guarantee you get another one. And also I want to say too, because I know, obviously you keep pretty busy. So you always have lots of irons in the fire. Is there anything else coming up on the horizon for you?
There is I have like a bunch of things. So for the last year and still now, I've been working in video games, and so I've kind of been splitting my time between that. So that's why my comics productivity has dropped off a bit. But it seems like everything I've been working on is going to be like all of a sudden just like kind of coming out around the same time.
Oh, wow.
So I have nothing right now. I think the only thing that is available that I worked on is I wrote a story for Creepshow, Skybound, that will be coming out in December or January, whenever issue 5 drops. Obviously I've got Apex, I've got Silverhawks. I do have the collected edition of The Displaced, which is a book I did for Boom Studios, which is the Kratom book, and one I'm very proud of. It's something I've been trying to get made since about 2008. So the trade paperback for that comes out on December 4th to comic shops. And then I think I'm going to have another announcement in December, and I think another one coming in, like 1 or 2 coming in February, March, somewhere around there. So I have a bunch of stuff coming up, but I can't mention any of it now because it's not been officially announced, and I'll be killed by the publishers if I do.
We don't want that. We protect you at all cost. Well, I will say too, I'll actually, and thank you for reminding me about The Displace. I'll actually I'm going to edit the description here in just a moment to get that in there, because I forgot to put that in there.
Awesome.
But I have links for, listen, we have links for both ThunderCats, Apex, Silverhawks. There's also links to your various other works, Batman Incorporated, and the X-Men X4 stuff that you've done, as well as Ghost Rider, Beyond the Breach. There's something wrong with Patrick Todd. Like, pretty much, just a full body of work in case.
Awesome.
For those of you who are, if for whatever reason, if you are not as familiar with Ed's work, fantastic writer. I can't say that enough. And I'm not just saying that because he's here. I've said it when he's not here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't want anyone thinking like, oh, man, he's putting on. No, I've said it when you're not here. But I bragged on your Alpha Flight. I bragged on your X-Men work and a lot of your other books. So I will definitely say, yeah, go check those links out. And yeah. And go get the damn book. Go get the damn book. Look, you know you want it. Go get it. You're gonna enjoy it. Just know. But Ed, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk. I know you've had a long day, so I appreciate
it's all good.
And yeah, if you ever want to come back, you ever want to talk again, or you got anything you ever want to promote, my door is open to you. Whenever, just say the word, and I got you.
All right, sounds like a date.